Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for this is your November bonus reading, and we're gonna jump right in here. You have this All That Glitters card and this Y card here, Virgo. This All That Glitters card, there are these two masks on the card, and all year. Basically, like I'm not saying that you're wearing a mask, but I do feel like you are hiding something special about yourself, right? It's like these masks are on this big pile of gold. And all year we've been talking to you about like needing to kind of reveal who you truly are. And that doesn't say that you're fake or anything like that. It just says that, there are parts of yourself that maybe you hold back on, or maybe you're afraid of what people will think, or whatever the case may be. And, it seems to me like this year has been a big reinvention year for you, which is kind of interesting. It's the year of the snake this year, 2025. And so I thought like everybody would be getting these cards, like if you asked me at the beginning of the year, right? But like you are pretty much the only person that constantly gets these cards of like reinventing yourself, showing the world the real you and things like that, magician, all that other stuff. You start in your current general energies with the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords can be like a separation, walking away from something. I feel like you're walking away from a lot, and not necessarily in a bad way either. The Five of Swords, sometimes I feel like this guy here is just choosing to walk away so that he can win. And, that's really what the Five of Swords is about. We kind of look at it as a challenging card sometimes because he might be walking away trying to win at all cost. So he doesn't care who he hurts or any of that stuff. And that's why it's like a little bit of a challenge. But I don't really feel that for you. I feel like you are just kind of going your own way right now, Virgo. It's like you're trusting your own thoughts or your own ideas, and maybe you're becoming who you truly are. So this is just a choice to go walk the path that you have to walk right now. And that's really what I feel like you're doing with the Five of Swords. Next, your crossing energy is the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, the crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross. I kind of feel both in your reading. I feel that this could be something that hurts you if you just stay right here, but I think it'll be something that helps you if you get on these boats and go on an adventure. I feel, again, a little bit of holding back energy in this reading. We have the Eight of Swords, very common to do during Mercury retrograde. We can be a little bit unsure. Again, the retrograde starts on the 9th. It goes till basically the end of the month, the 29th. So, again, is this really a big deal? Probably not. Just retrograde energy, but I would encourage you to take up as much space as possible. Be bolder. Say the crazy thing, right? Whatever that is. Especially if you have like a business or if you're trying to stand out in love or work or whatever. It's like this is really an energy of kind of like speaking your mind. And I feel a good word for Virgo is sharing. Not as in you are sharing. The things that you own, but sharing your thoughts with people. And not holding back in a lot of ways, kind of like cutting to the chase type of energy is what I get here. And it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think people are afraid to say things they feel, like especially in relationships, but pretty much everywhere. But it's like in relationships, it's like people hold things back, and it's like, yeah, it's like maybe you don't want to freak a person out and tell them you're in love with them on the first date, but at the same time, it's like if you're feeling something, it's like whether you say it now or say it later, does it really matter? Probably not. It's like if it's going to freak him out now, it's going to freak him out later. So, I don't know. I feel like there are just opportunities this month for you to like cut to the chase. It's like, yeah, maybe according to society's rules, you should hold back and do all these things, but who says, right? And also, I think it would help you save a lot of time. Next, in the area of your thoughts, you have the Devil. I think a lot of people are thinking about what's controlling them right now. We literally are seeing this in the world, right? Issues of control, them spying on us, Palantir, all this other stuff, them wanting to turn us into their robot slaves or whatever the hell's going on. I don't know. I don't try to guess anymore. But what I would say here is I think a lot of people are thinking about control. And the beautiful thing is we have Uranus and Taurus. So, Uranus is in Gemini right now, but in the middle of the month, it'll retrograde into Taurus. So I think we all get to decide what we want freedom to look like for us. And again, I think it would be a good time for society. And society might just be one person to decide like what freedom is. And you could be thinking a lot about that. You could be thinking about things that are toxic in your life as well and just removing them. It is a great retrograde for removing toxic things. It's a great time. I mean, I always bring up the South Node in Virgo is a great time for, looking at things that are toxic, not ignoring them, and just saying that's toxic and removing it from your life, or correcting the behavior, or, developing new habits, whatever it is. You in the area of your foundation, you have the Seven of Swords. I feel pretty good about this. Personally, I like the Seven of Swords. I don't care what anyone says. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive, no matter what. So, yeah, sure, this card could represent lying, cheating, stealing. Yeah, but it's like, to me, it's obvious advice. It's like, yeah, of course, you should always be avoiding liars, cheaters, and stealers. Like, duh. But on a personal level, he is sneaking away from this army in the background, and he's stealing these swords. So he's going to war without going to war. And it basically says that you have skills where you can do things without going directly towards the goal, or directly towards the outcome, or there's a better way you can create a better outcome for the things that you're working on. And we still have Uranus in Gemini, even though it's going to retrograde into Taurus. It's already been in Gemini. This right here kind of reminds me of Uranus and Gemini energy. We need to be tactical in our thinking with Uranus and Gemini. We need to make connections as well. One of the best things, I think, just a little shortcut for you, one of the best things we can all learn during Uranus and Gemini is making connections between two things that seem unrelated and making them work together. What the hell am I talking about? I don't know. I don't even know. But, it's like in business and work and love. It's like, can you take different ideas from things that aren't related to love or work, and can you inject them into what you're doing? It's like, those intersections are where genius is going to come from during Uranus and Gemini. So, it's like I'm trying all sorts of new things. I changed up my background here, right? I'm changing a bunch of other things right now, and mixing ideas together and putting them in a blender and just seeing what pops out. And, that is the Seven of Swords. Probably one of the best things we can do. Most of our ideas are going to suck, plain and simple, right? It's like 99 out of 100 are probably going to be terrible. But, the trick is that that one idea that is genius will change your life. So, again, it's a great time for experimentation. Next, in the area of your past, you have this poverty card, which is good. It says financial loss, strains, down on your luck, scarcity mindset, in a bad position, a lack in money, emotional matters. You have this fulfillment card. It says peace, harmony, satisfaction, in alignment, acceptance, happiness, positive mindset, in your power. So again, you're probably leaving any poverty mindset stuff in the past, which is great. It's like people love to tell me how bad things are in the world. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to paint this picture that things are sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, but what I am saying is I kind of think we're getting to a point where, the best way I can describe it is like, cognitive behavioral therapy. It's like my mom's a psychologist, and so, I always think of this with the energy that we have right now is that, with cognitive behavioral therapy, what you do is you bring a person to a heightened anxious state, and they can't stay there for too long, so eventually they come down. I kind of feel like this is happening to the world. It's like, we're getting thrown all these issues and problems, and people are telling us all these things that we have to be worried about, but I almost think that it actually what's going to end up happening like soon, maybe next year, like as we enter into next year, when Neptune and Saturn go back into Aries, is it's like the energy is actually going to come down because I think it's like too much, and we can only stay up here for so long. So it's like we're coming back down. And, again, I think this is a good thing because I think it's going to make people stop worrying. And, really the time that we're in, we have to make the changes, basically, that we want to see in the world. So, there you go. You have the Six of Swords. Six of Swords is moving on to calmer shores, heading towards improvements. So I feel like, again, coming up in the past position, pretty good. It says that you're moving on to calmer shores, you're creating more improvements in your life, and you're just heading towards calmer shores. I really have nothing to add to that card. Next, in the area of your very near future, you have this card that says, use your skills to aid others. You also have this hourglass that says, time is of the essence. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't rush at this time, but I do feel like people are feeling time more right now. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I don't know. It just seems like my days are over before I even start them. So it definitely seems like time is speeding up or something. And, I definitely think it's a bad time to rush during Mercury retrograde. But at the same time, I think we're in a time, if I can say that word enough, where if we have an idea, we should get started, right? With Neptune and Pisces, especially until January, the problem with Neptune and Pisces is you have an idea and then it just floats away, right? And you don't actually get started on it. So during this time, the end of the year, I think if you have ideas, you should take one step at least towards executing the idea or trying it, because you never know what will happen. So again, I wouldn't rush, but I would take the first step. Multiple steps, probably on a bunch of ideas. Also in the very near future, you have the Nine of Pentacles, which is great, pre-Empress energy, abundance, gratitude, and luxuries, right? The Nine of Pentacles, like heaven on earth. Really, it's about creating heaven on earth. We don't just get heaven on earth with the Nine of Pentacles. It's about no matter what, no matter your situation, can you create a better environment for yourself? Even if it's not perfect. Again, nothing is ever perfect. And yeah, you might be in a bad situation, which is fine. We all are there at some point in life. But it's like, what can you do to make it a little bit better? And the more you can do that with the Nine of Pentacles, the better your environment will become. And so the Nine of Pentacles is really about grounding heaven on earth in any way that you possibly can. I do feel that a lot of you are, again, this card, what did it say? It said, use your skills to aid others. She has these grapes behind her, and grapes in the tarot kind of represent something that you are good at that is maybe difficult for other people. So you probably have a skill that you could use to create a lot of success. But all year, it's funny to me that we have, this right here. It's like a mask guarding the gold. It's like there's something that needs to come out of you here, Virgo, or there's something that you need to show the world that maybe you're embarrassed or scared or whatever, whatever it is for you to show the world. But it's like that's exactly what needs to come out of you at this time. Next in your outcome row, you have this danger card. It says warning signs, flight or flight or distress. You have this wake up. It says awareness, self-control, and transition. Yeah, by the way, I said it at the beginning of the year. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it, right? I can give you a million examples of this year. Like this year, I was supposed to travel with my brother, and I just felt so weird about it. I was like, no, we can't. We can't go. The other night, I was at a class. You've probably heard me tell this story, and I was tired. I didn't really want to. I wanted to leave and go home because I'm a Pisces and I just want to sleep. And but I stuck around because people wanted to talk. And so I stuck around, and I'm glad I did, because I left, I went home, and as I was driving home, there was this huge multi-car accident at this intersection that I have to drive through. And I'm not saying I would have been part of it, but I don't know. It's like the cops were just pulling up as I was pulling up to it as well. And, it's like one of those things. If, like I said, if I was driving home, if I left when I wanted to leave, would I have been part of it? I don't know. Maybe, right? So I think we really have to. It's one of those years, and I would say this will continue through at least the first part of 2026. If something doesn't feel right, trust it. There's probably a reason. There's probably a good reason you should listen. Next, in the area of the next few months, you have the Hangman. I feel like you're getting a lot of answers. I actually feel pretty good about this Hangman for you. The Hangman to me is kind of a, whatever card. It's like he's stuck in Hangman mode. He's trying to get answers. He's hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom. And he finally has this enlightenment. So a lot of you, I feel, are going to be getting a lot of answers over the next few months. And I feel this will be helping you move forward. It's kind of funny as well. I feel like you're much more in this like observation mode, which I do feel is really good. I actually haven't said this to anyone, but now that I think about it, it's like one of those things where I'm like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I think everybody, I haven't said this to anyone, but I think everybody should be in like observation mode right now. There are, Neptune and Pisces, very subtle. There can be opportunities that most people can't see. Or, I think, one thing I have said this year is it's a great year to read between the lines. Or, like, everybody gets the Five of Wands. It's a great time to study the competition and to look at what they're not doing. Remember what I said about mixing ideas together with the Seven of Swords. It's like, if you mix what they are doing with what they're not doing, could be a genius thing. So, it might be a good time for you to be in observation mode. Next, in the area of your future, or this is your closest relationships, you have the Two of Wands. This could be you taking the lead. This is all relationships in your life. And the Two of Wands wants us to take the lead. Two of Wands wants us to kind of be the trailblazer. And I feel like that's what it's saying for you, is that maybe you are going to be blazing a new trail and kind of becoming an authority even. We don't really see any cards of authority, but, the Two of Wands is a good card for taking authority if you wanted to. And, this could be on social media. This could be in your personal life, your family, Could be anything, but I think it would be a great time for you to kind of like take the lead and, move in new directions with the Two of Wands. I also do feel like some sort of accomplishment here, which, he has the whole world in his hands. And we don't really look at the Two of Wands as a card of an accomplishment, but it is a card of progress. But I don't know, I just feel some sort of accomplishment. And it probably has to do with other people. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Eight of Swords. Like I said, I wouldn't worry too much about this. Mercury retrograde. Eight of Swords has a very easy solution. The solution to the Eight of Swords is to realize that there are many ways to solve anything in your life that you could be dealing with. She's a little bit stuck, but she's stuck because she's only looking at one way to solve her problem instead of all the ways there are to solve her problem. So I would make sure that you're staying open to all ways of solving problems, and you will be fine. The other thing about her is that she needs to trust her intuition, right? She has this blindfold on, and her intuition is telling her something, and she needs to listen. So, it could also be about just trusting your intuition. Your outcome is the Page of Cups. Could be a little bit of love for those of you that want it. Again, I'm not ready to call this a love reading yet, but if you want it, sure, there could be an admirer coming in for you with the Page of Cups. Page of Cups is really about your dream. He has this fish in the cup, and again, I have a feeling that probably every reading I do for this set of readings is going to talk about dreams, because again, we're getting to the end of Neptune and Pisces. We only have a few months left, and Neptune and Pisces is like screaming at all of us to try to accomplish the impossible dream, and whatever that is for you. And if you do that, I think you'll be happy that you did. So, like I've said to everyone, we only have to take one tiny little step towards that dream. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to do everything, even though actually the energy is probably making us feel like we have to do everything. We don't. We just have to get started. That's it. With the Five of Swords and the Three of Wands, you have the King of Cups. Yeah, this Mercury retrograde could be playing with your emotions a little bit. Not only that, but like Neptune retrograde, again, in your opposite sign, I feel that could be playing up your emotions. Saturn is right there with Neptune as well. And so the King of Cups is sitting in the middle of the ocean, and he has very deep emotions. But here's the thing, is you have the Eight of Swords, right? She is standing in this very tiny pool of water below her here, and it kind of represents shallow emotions. But you have the King of Cups, which is very deep emotions. The thing about the King of Cups is to have an emotion. It doesn't say avoid emotions. It says feel your emotions, but don't drown in your emotions. It's like once you've explored something, let it go. And so it would be a good time, I think, for you to keep an eye on your emotions. Explore your emotions, feel them, go scream in a pillow, punch a pillow, I don't care, do something, get it out, do whatever you can if you're having negative emotions. I don't even think this is just negative. I think it's all emotions. Feel them, but then release them. With the Devil, you have the Ten of Cups. It's like fortune after difficulty. So, this could be like a major improvement here is what I feel for you, Virgo. Especially if you've been bound or stuck to something. The Ten of Cups is amazing for, the kind of like the solution or whatever you want to call it. And you could be experiencing fortune after difficulty. So after being stuck and bound for a long time, it's like you're being set free. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, I would just look for the other way. Two of Pentacles is like having a choice. It's a lot of people read it as juggling, spinning plates, having a lot to do. But it's almost like saying to me, to you, that there are like two ways. Or there's probably more than that. But, there might be like a traditional way to work on a project or do something. There might be a unique Virgo way to do something. And, I think the challenge for Virgo is that the unique way might open you up to criticism. And, it's like maybe that's part of the Devil as well, and the All That Glitters card. That All That Glitters card is like, those masks could say you're holding back because you're fearing criticism or something. And I feel like overcoming that would be a good exercise for you this month, because you need to shine for sure. With the Six of Swords, you have the Eight of Wands. Yeah, quick movement. This is very good because, this would say that you're moving forward quickly in your life and instead of slowly, which is great. And you're finally, it can also represent a conclusion. And so if you've been dealing with something difficult, this could say that something that's been weighing on your mind or something that's been a difficult journey or, has been slowing you down, especially with this poverty card, not feeling good enough or whatever. It's like you're charging past it more quickly. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, definitely. There's an overcomplication energy this year, 2025, where I feel, and I literally said this in all the 2025 readings, and it's going to continue until like March, basically, that we could be overcomplicating things that we're working on. Really, again, the solution is very simple. Instead of like adding a bunch of moving parts to new projects or anything new that you're trying, just keep it simple. We need the problem with this year is Saturn as well. Well, part of the problem, right? Saturn requires us to stick to things. Saturn wants us to, see something through to the end, right? If you make something too complicated, you're just not going to stick to it. If you make something super simple on yourself, then you're probably going to stick to it. And so, that's like the easiest way to solve this energy this year. And that's what I would do. You'll make 20 times more progress as well. With the Hangman, you have the Four of Pentacles. It's like the cracks are forming. It's like you have a wall in front of you, and it's like these cracks is how I see it, with light coming through. It's like you're finally seeing through the wall, is what I feel. I actually feel very good about this. Four of Pentacles says that maybe you've been stuck looking at things the same way for too long. He is kind of stuck in his comfort zone. He has his city behind him, but he's secure, but he also has no clue what he's holding himself back from. It's like he has something. He's holding on to those Four of Pentacles, but the universe wants you to have more when you have the Four of Pentacles. And so I feel for a lot of you, it's like maybe you're starting to see those cracks forming where it's like you think your life is good. Maybe it is. Again, this is not a criticism or anything, but you could be kind of seeing that things could be better. It's almost like the universe is, giving you inspirations on how you can make your life better. And I would, definitely move towards them. With the Two of Wands, you have the Lovers. Yeah, definitely could be love. There is a little bit of love here for sure. If you want love, I feel, Two of Wands says you have to do things differently. He has to, he's already tried something. What his castle is complete. This wand here stands on its own, but he has the world in his hands. The Two of Wands is a card of needing to experience variety, needing to see that there are other ways that things can be done. So for those of you who are looking for love, this could represent trying to meet a person in a different way, going to a different place to meet people. It's like you probably don't want to meet a person in a strip club in 2025. Maybe you do. I don't know. No, no judgments here. But what I would say is, might be a good to try something else if you want love. With the Eight of Swords, here you go. You have the Empress, which is great. Total abundance. We have pre-Empress energy to the Empress, which is amazing. You definitely could be attracting a lot of abundance. And again, nurturing yourself will probably bring you more abundance as well. With that Eight of Swords, I would definitely be taking more care of yourself with the Empress. The other thing about her is she does things very simply, right? All she has to do is wave that scepter in front of her, and that wheat in front of her will grow. So again, she's not doing something super complicated, which again is the danger of 2025, is that we come up with ideas, we make them too complicated, and there's two problems with that. Number one, again, you're not going to stick with it. Number two, you're telling the universe, for me to have good things, it has to be hard, right? And so we need to make sure that we're sending the signal to the universe that things can be easy for us. That doesn't mean things are going to be easy, of course not. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but I do. And so it doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect, but what it does mean is that it can be easier than the super complicated version of whatever you're trying to do. Here you go. With the Page of Cups, you have the Six of Wands. Definitely could be some sort of victory or win coming in for you, or accomplishment. The Six of Wands can be, a great accomplishment or an achievement. This could also be a lot of attention. You could also be attracting a person who gets a lot of attention as well. Next, you can't make this up, Virgo. You have this card that says, get back to basics. Yeah, keep it simple, right? Anything that you're doing, allow it to be simple and do it in the most simple way possible. I think if you do that, then things will be much easier for you. You have this haystack. It says, karma, you will reap what you have sown. I think you are. You have the Nine of Pentacles and the Empress. These are harvest cards, right? It's like you're about to harvest your karma or something. This is, very good. Part of me kind of feels that first card, the All That Glitters card. It's like saying for you to harvest your karma or get the abundance of your karma, whatever you want to say, you have to let your true self out here or something. It's like there's something inside of you that wants to come out. I think I've said this to you before. I'm pretty sure. I have a friend who's a Virgo, and he is a sculptor, and like, autistic level sculpting like crazy. It's like his sculptures look like, he sculpts a person, it looks like a freaking person. You go to his house, he has all his sculptures hidden behind his couch. I kid you not, right? And he's a Virgo, genius level sculptor, crazy, and he hides it. Right? So, that's the best way I can describe. And I say this to his face. People, anytime I tell this story, people are like, don't talk behind your friend's back. I'm like, I tell him this right to his freaking face. So don't worry. I have no filter, right? And, again, and he probably is watching this reading, by the way. So there you go. Jason, hello. You have this chair-filled card. It says, someone new is entering your life. Yes, I definitely feel there is probably new love based off this reading. Could be a water sign. Capricorn and Taurus also stand out to me as well. I think you always get Taurus. You have this mountain. It says major challenge to overcome. I really don't think there are any challenges here. I think the challenge is in your head. So I would, conquer the mountain in your head. Because you also have this card. It says ladder, climbing towards success. There you go, Virgo. You are definitely climbing towards success with this reading. This looks really good, Virgo. I love it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.